Welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, we're diving into something that affects literally all of us, the truth about willpower and the HALTS rule. Listen, if you've ever set a massive goal, gave it your absolute all, and then completely fell off the wagon, only to brutally beat yourself up about it afterward, you're going to want to stick around for this. Our culture has sold us this really, frankly, toxic narrative. We've been conditioned to think that failing to stick to a diet or a budget or hitting the gym is some sort of moral failing. Like, if you fail, you just didn't want it badly enough. Well, scratch that. Today, we're completely dismantling that guilt trip. We're going to look under the hood at the actual mechanics of human behavior to see why just trying harder is almost never the answer.
Let's kick things off with a pretty heavy-hitting quote from Ben Angel. This immediately validates the struggle, I promise you. As cited in our source material, he says, "People recommend willpower like it's a pill, but they don't understand that low energy is influencing their behavior and mood. It's damaging." I mean, wow, think about that for a second. How many times have people just told you to push through it? This quote completely tears down the myth that lacking willpower is some kind of character flaw. It's not a magic pill you pop to instantly become disciplined. It is actually, deeply, literally tied to your physical, biological state. So I want you to completely shift your mindset right now. Move away from psychology and think about biology. Ask yourself, what if your willpower is actually a muscle, right? Imagine it's just like your biceps or your quads. You wouldn't go into the gym and expect to do heavy bicep curls for 10 hours straight without your arms eventually just totally giving out. Setting up this new mental model, it changes the whole game. It means we can finally stop judging ourselves for slipping up, and instead we start looking at how we're actually managing our internal resources. For the longest time, we've been walking around carrying this really heavy, guilt-ridden view. The idea that willpower is this limitless well, and if you fail, you're just a flawed person. Honestly, that's an exhausting burden to carry. But the biological reality is vastly different. Reality says that willpower needs energy, and it gets tired when it's overused. It is a biological mechanism. Seriously, this should instantly lift that cultural guilt off your shoulders. When you cave and eat the junk food at 9 p.m. after a completely draining workday, it's not because you're weak-willed, not at all. It's simply because your biological willpower reservoir is temporarily tapped out.
Okay, let's break down exactly how this acts in your body. First off, willpower requires physical energy. Like low energy literally equals low willpower, period. Second, as we just talked about, it acts exactly like a muscle. When you overuse it, say by making 100 micro decisions at work or resisting a dozen temptations before noon, it experiences real mental fatigue. But wait, here's the good news. Just like a physical muscle, it can be trained and strengthened over time through consistent small habits. And finally, this is a big one, guys. It becomes way less effective when you divide it across conflicting goals. If you're trying to, quit smoking, start running 5 miles a day, and learn a brand new language all in the exact same week, you are spreading that muscle way too thin. It's going to snap.
We have all been there, right? You've had a brutally long day. You've made a million tough decisions. You sat in terrible traffic. And by the time you walk through your front door, your internal battery is just flashing red. Well, beware the empty battery. When our willpower muscle is completely fatigued, we are at our absolute most vulnerable state for making bad choices. The source material points out that trying to suppress a desire when you're in this state, it actually often makes the craving even stronger. You are essentially totally defenseless against your own worst impulses when that battery is at zero.
So, the obvious question is, what do we do? When your willpower muscle is fried, you need a defense mechanism. You need a way to protect yourself from your own drained battery. Enter the HALTS rule. HALTS is this incredibly practical acronym and mental checklist. It's specifically designed to protect your limited willpower by helping you instantly recognize these states of high vulnerability. Instead of just gritting your teeth and relying on brute force to get through the day, you use this framework as a shield.
Let's unpack this checklist, because it's super easy to remember. You want to avoid making major decisions or putting yourself in the path of temptation when you are hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or sick. HALTS. I mean, think about the sheer absurdity of expecting ourselves to make perfect, life-altering choices when we are, let's be real, hangry, or when we're running on 2 hours of sleep or fighting off a nasty head cold. Our sources clearly point out that poor health and negative emotional states directly plummet your willpower. If you hit any of these 5 states, your willpower muscle is officially compromised.
The logic here is beautifully simple. Stop, assess, protect. If you find yourself staring down a giant slice of chocolate cake you swore you wouldn't touch, or if you're hovering your finger over send on a really aggressive email to a coworker, stop. Assess your HALTS. Are you hungry? Are you tired? If the answer is yes to literally any of those 5 states, you have got to hit pause and address that basic biological need first. Go eat an apple, take a 20-minute nap, go for a walk and calm down. You simply cannot expect your willpower to function if your underlying biological machinery is practically screaming for help.
All right, so now we know how to protect our willpower when we're drained. But let's talk about setting up for success. How do we navigate our actual, everyday lives without constantly draining that battery in the first place? We want to play offense here, not just defense.
It really boils down to this rapid-fire 3-step process. Step 1, keep your energy high. This means the basics: eating well, getting enough sleep, moving your body, because your baseline health is the literal fuel for your willpower. Step 2, avoid failure through planning. You've got to arrange your life so that doing the right thing is actually the path of least resistance. And step 3, check your HALTS before you act impulsively. Running this exact process allows you to hoard your willpower muscle for when life throws you a massive, unexpected curveball and you truly actually need it.
And you'll see here, proactive planning is actually beautifully simple in practice. Look at this. If your goal is to eat healthier, the action isn't, staring at a box of cookies and just sweating it out trying not to eat them. No! The proactive action is getting all the junk food out of your house entirely. If you want to work out in the morning, pack your gym bag the night before and put it by the door. If you need to focus on a massive project at work, physically take your phone and put it in another room. You are structurally designing your environment so that you don't even have to use a single drop of willpower to make the right choice. It's genius!
Which brings us to one of my absolute favorite concepts from our sources: tiny tasks. The material describes our unconscious mind as an 800-pound gorilla. Let's be honest, if the gorilla doesn't want to do a massive chore, you are not doing it. But you can completely bypass that unconscious resistance by breaking large tasks down into ridiculously small, immediate actions. We're talking about things like wiping down the shower glass while you're literally already in the shower, or rinsing 2 plates while you're just standing there waiting for your coffee to brew anyway. Because these tasks are so incredibly tiny, they don't wake up the gorilla, they don't trigger that resistance, and they require almost zero active willpower. Wow. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground in this explainer today, shifting away from that heavy guilt of moral failure and stepping right into the empowering science of our own biology. So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Next time you face temptation, next time you feel like you're right on the edge of failing at one of your big goals, are you just going to blindly tell yourself to try harder? Or are you going to stop, take a breath, and check your HALTS? You have the framework now. You know how to protect your energy and plan for success. Now it's time to actually use it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.